Kakadosh Boker or Daf Yomi Masechet Batra Daf Kuf Aleph Amud Aleph 101A1. We're just going to start on Kufa Mubet on 100B by the Mishnah. Imagine right now a person comes and he's acquiring a place in order to build a kever. So basically, it's like a bet me'arot, was they always used to do in caves. Okay, now during the time, it was not mentioned how big is it going to be. Or if you accept it, right? To make the kever, right? You're going to make the inside 4 by 6. You have the picture on the bottom. You see the me'ara 4 by 6. Right, turn the page. You have the picture. Yeah. So he comes and he says, that's what you're going to do. 4 by 6. Okay. And then what happens? He says, upoteach letocha, right? You're going to open it up, right? What does that mean? You're going to open shmone kuchim, 8 burial plots. Okay, look at the picture below. 3 on each side and 2 in the front. Okay, mikan, right? One of them you're going to have shlosha mikan, right? He says, right? He says 3 and 3. And 2 in the opposite wall. The kuchin, right? And the kuchin themselves are kan arba amot, are going to be arba amot. The uman and the height is going to be 7 tfachim. Okay? Which 7 tfachim is 1 aman, 1 tefach. Okay? Says the Mishnah on Kufa Aleph Amud Aleph on the top. Berochban shisha. So the width is going to be 6. So we just gave you basically a measurement of the how do you call this, of the of a burial plot, which is something incredible because 7 tfachim is not right. Okay, so 56 centimeters. It's not that much. Think about it. It's not that much. 56 centimeters is the height. Okay, the length is going to be 4 amot. Because usually a human being is not more than 4 amot, meaning it's 1.92 meters, right? So again, obviously you will have somebody longer, but fine. And then it says, and the rochvan is also going to be 6 tfachim. Rabbi Shimon says, before we said it was arba al shesh. Now it's going to be shesh al shmone according to the shita, and you're going to open up 13 13 kuchim, right? Arba mikan, 4 on each side. And 3 kenegdan. Ve'echad miyamin, right? Ve'echad min hasmol. You have the picture. Okay? Yeah? Actually, you don't have a picture. Right. Because this one is a different one. I know, but that's a whole city. That's something else. Okay? Fine. Okay? 6 and 6. You're going to have 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, I don't know where you have it here. 3, 4, 4. Or you know what? Actually, like this. Pretend that it's the big picture, but it's only one of them. It's not all 4 of them, obviously. And it has to be 6 by 8. Okay? So it's basically like one of those. Okay? You're going to make a chatzer on the me'ara, which is also going to be 6 by 6. Just like the place that they're going to take the mitah and the ones that are burying him. You're going to open up 2 me'arot, one here and one over there. Okay? So he says, Shimon comes and he says, it's going to be 4 for the 4 different directions. Okay? So therefore, that's what you have over there. The picture over there, that it's going to be all the different. Everything that goes according to the way that the ground is in order to dig all these pits. Okay? Fine. Says the Gemara. We just said that you have 2 kuchim. Right? Where are you going to put them? Right? Which kivum? Right? Right? He says what? Are you going to tell me now that they're going to be outside of it? So it's going to be like outside of the karka of the chatzer, right? He says, "Kamin shadelu." So people are going to come and they're going to start stepping on it, and it's bizayon lemet for people to step on the mat. The 2, and furthermore, Hatznam we learned in a Mishnah, chatzar kever omer betocho tahor. Chatzar, which is basically the me'arat kever, somebody that's going to be inside of it is going to be tahor. Right? Why? Because anybody that's going to be there is not going to become tameh from the oil, right? Ala kuchim. Meaning, if you're going to have kuchim, which is going to be, kuchim are the actual burial plots. If you're going to have some of them which are going to be underneath the karka, the chatzer, so anybody that's going to stand there is going to become tameh. So he says, so 1 second, so what's going on then? Right? How could it be, right, that you're going to be there and it's not going to be mitameh you? Where are we going exactly? Where is it? Huh? Okay, it's still, it doesn't matter. The tumah comes out. So he says, Amar Rabbi Yossi, it doesn't no me'al. You're stepping on top of it. Even nowadays, they bury people. You're not supposed to stand on top of a buried person. It doesn't matter. Amar Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Chanina, says Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Chanina, David lehu kemin nagar. You're going to make like a briach of a delet. What does that mean? That it's going to be, right, zakuf letochor baritzpa, which means he's going to make them, right, in the karka, on the two, beside the entrance, right, betsurot brurot, right, borot amukim arbamot, right, and therefore you're going to place them that way. So it's actually going to be zakuf. It's not going to be lying down, meaning it's going to be downwards, right? It's not going to be like nowadays what we do it. Oh, nowadays they also do it sometimes downwards, whatever it is. Okay, so says the Gemara. Rabbi Yochanan comes and he says, 1 second, Purat chamorim izo, right? Kufala from Ubet. He says chamorim are doing like that. Since when do you come and you put people lying, standing up? You're going to bury them standing up? So says the Gemara, Rabbi Yochanan Davilu Bekeren Zavid. You're doing it on the corner, right? By the way, that's a picture that you have right there, right? You got the 4x6, you got 4, 4, 3, and then 1, 1 on the two sides, right? Like on the diagonal going out. Okay. So he says the Hanage Kuchel Adadi. He says what? They're touching each other. So he says Amravashi b'mamik. He says no, you're being mamik, right? You're doing it deeper down, so it's not actually touching. If you're not going to say that, how do you do the arba me'arot according to Rabbi Shimon? They're all touching each other. He says, but rather mamik, you're doing it more depth. Meaning, since I'm doing it, remember here we're talking about underground. We're not talking about overground. We're talking about underground. So since you're talking about underground, when you're going to come, you're going to deep, but I could go deeper. So you just continue going deeper. That's all that you're doing. You're making it like chariot shel dekel, which means the kuchim, which are on the sides, are going to be balachson, right, of the kotel of the me'ara, and therefore you could still put it without that they're going to touch. Okay, and therefore we're not going to say that it was done higher up and lower down. Okay, so he says the hadra v'hunam mereditahi. It's a mistake. He says anytime that you have an amma, which is a 1 amma squared, it's always going to be 1 amma and 2/5 balachson. What's the rule, doctor? Whenever you say that you have a 1 by 1 square, right? Whatever it is, a square, right? A square meter. So then you're always going to say you have 1 and 2/5. And you have to add on 2/5, right, to that. What? Because that's the rule. That's the rule of math. Okay, whenever you have 1 on 1, whenever you're going balachson, you need more. Okay? So he comes and he says, right, Kama haveluhu, how much is it going to be? So he said, Chad, Srei v'chumsha. So it's going to be 11 and 1/5. So kuchin kamavu. How much of the kuchin do you have? It says, Tamanya, you have 8. Temanya bechad Srei v'chumsha. How do you have 8 burial plots in 11 and a half amot? How do you do that? For sure, it's a mistake. It's a mistake. One more time. Everyone just be clear. Look, if I'm going to come and I'm going to take this and I'm going straight. So if this is going to be 1 amalama, when I'm going diagonal, I need more. So the diagonal, if I have 1 by 1, I'm going to need 1.4, right? Because basically 2/5. What's 2/5? 40%, right? 2/5 is 40, right? Out of 100. So therefore, right, you're going to need, huh? Yeah, fine. So that's the concept. Yeah. So therefore, you have 1 and 2/5. Yeah, yeah, fine. So he comes down and he says, yeah. So he says, how does that happen? So for sure, it's a mistake. If you want, you can answer. He says, benifle. We're talking about nifalim, meaning they were little babies. What? They little babies, a nefel. So because of that, that's why they didn't need such a big burial plot. We're talking about nefalim. Right? Yeah, so that's why that means the ones which are on the lachsons, they only use them for nefalim, so it didn't have to be that long. Okay. They didn't need to have the extra. Yes, they didn't need it. So Tanan Hatan, that's what we also learned. Met, right? Mushkav kedarko. Right? If you find a person that's deceased and he's lying down in a normal way, so you're going to take the met and the afar. He says, Shnaim, you're going to take also. He says, Matzah Shlosha, once you found 3, if you have between 4 and 8 amot, meaning there's not going to be less than 4 amot, right? But not more than, meaning minimum 4, but less than 8, that's a shkuna kvarot, so therefore you're not allowed to move them anymore. Because basically it's a whole thing of it's a big, right? 3. There are 3 people. 3 people, but you don't have the 4 out of the A. But we continue tomorrow.